So obviously, South Africa was once part of the British Empire, and then previous to that, the Dutch Empire. But are there any kind of remnants of British culture still in South Africa?
Most certainly. On the East Coast, if you go to the East Coast, you feel like you're in England. When I first moved to England, I honestly felt like I hadn't even left the East Coast.
Oh
The
wow.
houses look the same, the roads look the same, just even the accent is kind of the same as well. But then the East Coast of South Africa is considered the last of the British Empire. So
Oh wow.
if you go there, you'll probably meet more British people than you will South Africans.
Oh great. Well, yeah, that's really interesting because obviously we're interested in different cultures and that sort of thing, and obviously one of the major languages in South Africa apart from English is Afrikaans. As I mentioned, from when it was part of the Dutch Empire. So, what can you tell us a bit about Afrikaans? Because obviously there'll be some people who aren't familiar with that language.
Well, it's considered kitchen Dutch because, yes, the Dutch brought it down to Africa, but it's sort of merged and molded within the houses, and it's now sort of halfway between Dutch and halfway between German. So if I hear a Dutch person speaking in front of me, I feel like I can understand them, but they need to speak very slowly, and I feel like they're not enunciating their words properly.
Right.
Whereas if a Dutch person, I mean, a German person sits in front of me and speaks, I can almost understand everything they're saying. But if I had to read German, it's not the same language at all. So it's quite interesting that the written Dutch has more in common with Afrikaans than the spoken Dutch, and the spoken German has more in common than the written German. It's quite strange.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously you speak Afrikaans. Growing up, was Afrikaans your first language, or was it English,
Yeah.
or?
Yes, English was, but in South Africa, the culture is that everybody is bilingual. It's not a case of you learn only one language and then you learn your second language in school.
Right.
It's as soon as you start talking, you're learning two languages.
Yeah.
So for me, Afrikaans was as a part of my life as English, but since leaving South Africa nearly 10 years ago, I've barely spoken it at all. So it's kind of gone by the wayside.
But I mean, if you go to, say, what part of South Africa are you from?
Johannesburg.
Johannesburg. So if you go to, I don't know, another part in South Africa, maybe Durban or something, is there kind of a more Afrikaans prevalence than English, or?
No, you've gone the wrong direction. Towards the east coast, it's more Zulu because that's where the Zulu kingdom is.
Oh right.
You have to go towards the Free State, which is in the middle of South Africa for Afrikaans. That's where Afrikaans is like the only language you'll hear.
Okay, so let's go back to literature. What were your influences growing up, or when you first started writing? Who were your kind of favourite authors?
Well, my favorite author is Jerome K. Jerome. I go absolutely mad for him because for me, he didn't just write books; he played with language, and that's that is the, if you're in love with language like I am, then that's where you want to be. But growing up, mainly it was Frances Hodgson Burnett, who wrote *The Secret Garden* and *The Little Princess*, among others. But those two books were like my stepping stones. Even today, when I write, you can see little pieces of those two books in all my work. Um, I've even named the farm in Appy Towers after Misselthwaite Manor, which is in *The Secret Garden*.
Oh
That's how
right.
much I love it. And of course, because no author worth their salt can't not love him, Lewis Carroll,
Yeah.
because a man who could invent a world like Wonderland, he needs a high five on a daily basis.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So what sort of things are you reading at the moment?
Right now, I'm making my way through the Adrian Mole series because he just turned 50. So, and I've loved him since I was 13 years old. I actually found that his diary, the diary of the 13-year-old, when I was 13. So
Oh
I feel
yeah.
like I've sort of grown up with him.
Mm.
And so now I've just finished reading The Wilderness Years. I've yet to start the next one. But yeah, it's fun to be back in Adrian Mole's world.
Awesome. Okay, so what's next for Myra King then?
Well, we still have 6 more books that need to be released, and they need to be edited and worked on, and that is not an easy task. Editing
No.
takes almost years to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after that, are you planning another series?
Well, I'm writing stuff as I go, but so far everything has to sort of take a back seat to Aptly Towers.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happens when that's finished. We'll see then. But I've also got a 5-year-old son, so everything also has to take a back seat to him.
Yeah.
So when he grows up a bit, when he's less dependent on me, then I'm sure I'll have more time to write. So
Yeah.
we'll see then.
Of course. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you, and all the best with your prize, and we hope it goes well. And nice speaking to you.
Thank you very much. It was great being here.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.